renderforce.com.
What is up, YouTube? It is your boy, it's Cam, bringing you a Last of Us video. We are going to do a Daredevil review. Let me say a couple of things before I get right into this fantastic review. One of the first things I want to talk about is the intro. If any of you subscribers or fans want to go ahead and make me an intro, I'll gladly use it in any of my videos. I use RenderForce because it's relatively easy, but I would like to take the watermark off the back, but I would have to pay, which is not a big problem for me. But I know there are so many more creative things I could use out there, but for right now we're going to use this one. Another thing, so I know in the Flash review, I'm pretty sure I gave it a score review, which I want to go back and revise, and I've thought about that system and how to do it that way. I do not think that is the correct way to do it now that I look at something. When you guys, I know many people go off with number systems such as on games and movies. They go, if that movie's a 10, it's good or great, most likely excellent, and then a 9 to a 7 is blah blah blah, but below a 6 we always think it's a bad movie. Whereas I want to realize that a 10 doesn't necessarily mean perfect, but all the elements created together makes it a perfect movie of sorts. So I'll be going by this is something you should watch, recommended, something you should not watch, something that should not be on your radar, and we'll add more over time, but those are the basic four. So watch, recommend, on your time, and not recommended, because I don't think anything should be purely not watched. It is, in my back of better terms, my opinion about how something and how I watched it, even though there could be different contrasting views and opinions about a lot of things, such as there about everything. So let's hop right into this Daredevil review. Now let me first start off by saying, definitely watch. Picked up by Netflix. It starred by Charlie Cox, which is, I'm more than confident to say that's the name of the hero in Daredevil, and is produced by Marvel. How much greater could you get of a TV show? Elements of everything were created correctly, and before this, one of the only core of any superhero that I saw was Arrow, and I thought they did it well, but Daredevil, far and behold, took my expectations, crushed them up into tiny little bits, spit them back out. It was something I had never seen. And yes, if you were to say which one do you like better, Flash or Daredevil, honestly, I would say Flash because, like I said in my other review, he is my favorite superhero of all time. But on a normal basis, non-biased, I would say Daredevil. The fight scenes were untouched, unrivaled. His villain Kingpin, which in my honest opinion was great, but not perfect like a lot of people say, but great. It just, he was too great of a challenge for Daredevil to face. And I'm trying to make this as non-spoilery as possible because I know some people still haven't saw the show even though it's on season 2, which we'll do a review about later. Now, one of the main things I liked about the show, well, first start off by saying some of the things I enjoyed the most. The fight scenes, especially the hallway scene. The hallway scene, in my idea, it's happened before, but somehow they integrated that into part of the story without making it lame, and it built on something new. Yes, we've had hallway scenes in the past, but it felt like Daredevil took its own unique spin on it. It showed a hero that it wasn't afraid to get tough and gritty, but he also wasn't non-realistic. Whereas, I mean, by every superhero movie you watch up until this point, they have them fighting and conquering and doing all this amazing stuff, but it never shows them getting tired or fatigued, which the hallway scene did perfectly. Yes, he fought maybe 15 to 10 men in that hallway, but it always came down to he would get tired and then he would take a break for like 15 to 10 seconds. It was a great scene. It was just a great episode in general. That's another thing. I think the one of the reasons why the Daredevil succeeded where I think the Flash failed is because it had a shorter season limit, which doesn't necessarily negate the fact that it was better. But once again, like I said, it just made it more compacted, whereas the story is always moving, whereas in some of these other superhero shows, the story is not negated by how many episodes you have, because obviously you want to get whatever you have to say in one season out. The Flash can't do that currently with this season because it has, I wouldn't say too many episodes, because you can have a story-driven 22 episode arc. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because they only had 13 episodes to put everything in, everything had to go along a little bit more quickly. Now this can also be a downplay, because some of the things can be not added in or elaborated on, as in you have a shorter season. Yes, both of these shows are relatively the same time, so, but once again, it wasn't watered down by meaningless stuff. So let's talk about the characters. We'll start with Daredevil since he's the most important. I thought his portrayal of Daredevil was on point, and since this was season 1, I was actually glad not to see the costume as of yet. I know some people are on season 2 and you've seen the costume, but season 1 of Daredevil made the perfect costume. He was a hero in sorts. Oh, and look at this play right here. This dude just straight up murdered me. What a G. Anyway, he wasn't too outlandish, as in he had on a black mask, he had on a black shirt, he had on some boots. That was the perfect get up for a superhero starting out. Now let's start about Karen. And I know in the episode he had saved her, and I thought that was an excellent way to portray her and to get her in the show. Now, as her acting and vocal skills, I kind of always, I wouldn't say disliked her. She was a great character, and I felt like her character had motivation, and it was always on the move. There was nothing really bad to say about her from my point of view, but there's really nothing great to say about her per se. Now, Foggy. I know so many people don't like Foggy, but I thought Foggy was, if not a great comic relief. I mean, yes, I know he wasn't generally funny, but I think that's what made it funny. Like, he wasn't a funny character, and his acting was okay to mediocre, but him not being not funny was the funny part to me. And I don't know what happened to this dude in the gameplay right here. I thought he was gonna come in this, like, the stall, like I'm bathroom camping right here. I'm like setting up a tent. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. And he's like, nah, never coming. Anyways, let's get back into the thing. So I like the basic plot of season 1, how Kingpin was always controlling the people from behind the scenes, and how there were 4 powerful bosses throughout the city. And in my mind, it was kind of like a Mario themed, I don't know, season, if you could say. Like, he took down all the bosses besides one. Well, spoiler alert, Kingpin was the last one to go out. The thing I didn't like about the very last episode was the Kingpin Daredevil fight. I thought it was not anticlimactic, but after seeing some of the fights with the other people, it wasn't enough for me. And maybe I need to go rewatch it and make sure that I wasn't just burned out, because I watched the last 3 episodes in a row. So maybe that could have been it. But I watch all of Jessica Jones, all 13 episodes in a row. And I've watched Daredevil, well, not in a row, but I watched Jessica Jones 3 episodes a day. So I finished the season in 4 days, and then I watched Daredevil season 2 in the span of 3 days. So I don't know if I was burned out or if I generally wasn't paying attention, but I'm pretty sure the fight happened in an alley, and I know the one of the reasons I did like it is because Daredevil did get beat up, but I felt like Kingpin was strong enough and bigger enough than Daredevil to take the win away, but not necessarily kill him and have a larger plot to his plan. I did like how he fell in love with the art manager and how he eventually put all his resources to make sure she was safe. That was one of the greatest plots out of that whole season. And I also liked his backstory. It showed his deeper character, and it showed that he had emotions, whereas in a lot of villains on some of these shows don't have emotions. And I'm not talking about Arrow season 1 and 2, mostly 3. Hint, hint, wink, wink, CW season 3 Arrow. Yeah. Anyways, that's my review for the Daredevil, which was great. And let me just say one thing. This was leagues and leagues and 7 leagues above the Daredevil movie made in 2003, 2002, maybe. Now that was trash. And for that, just for that, this deserves a watch, like I said at the beginning of the video. It keeps you entertained, thrilled, and is generally regarded as one of the best superhero TV shows on to date. This is my review. Signing out. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot the outro. Kids, eat your fucking vegetables, or I'll come for you. This is your boy, it's Cam, leaving you with the vegetables.
Uniform down! Uniform down! Hook right.
Look out, he's got a rifle.
Yeah, I got a uniform down! That's one!
Good to go.
Bomb set, watch your ass!
And one uniform. That's one. Shit, I have to wrap this up.